Hi, welcome back to BIMteriors, Revit for interior designers. Today's Revit tutorial will go over how to start, open, and save your Revit projects. But before we just jump into hitting open or starting a new project, I wanted to take a few seconds to review options to consider that will be useful for you to learn while starting any one of your new projects. To open existing files, create new files from a template, and save files in Revit, they're all found in the File tab. There are three main file formats I think that we should all know about. Project files, these are where you do the majority of your work in the Revit model by adding elements, creating views, annotating views, and setting up printable sheets. Then we have family files. These are separate components that can be inserted into your project. They include elements that can stand alone, such as millwork, or items that are hosted in other elements, example, a light fixture within one of your ceiling assemblies. There are also title blocks and annotation symbols that are special type of family files. Then we have template files. These are the base files for any new project or family. Project templates hold standard information and settings for creating new projects. There are already preloaded out-of-the-box templates that Revit does offer. However, you can also create custom templates. You can tailor these templates to your studio standards with information that you want in it for when your team starts any projects. I'll be releasing episodes on this in the next little while into how to create custom templates and best practices. To open an existing project in the Quick Access toolbar or File tab, click Open. The Open dialog box will appear, in which then you can navigate to the file or specific project you're looking for. One thing I'd like to kind of point out at this point is when you open a file and you're unsure of potentially what release the model you're about to open was created in, the release version of the current model is displayed below in the preview when in the open dialog box. It's important to note when working with other team members or consultants that everyone's working in the same release year of Revit. It's very important as interior designers that we coordinate with our consultant team on which version everyone is using before we create our model. Not only does our internal team need to be on the same release, but so does the entire consultant team. I think it's at this point, it's important for me to note that Revit is not a backwards compatible software, meaning if I've started this project in a later version as 2024, we cannot open it in 2023 or earlier releases for the project. Revit only has the ability to work in the current release version or the option to upgrade into a newer release. And that's why it's so important that the entire team is on the same page with what version of Revit they're working in. Starting a project, for new projects are based on template files. The templates include view templates, loaded families, defined settings such as units, filled patterns, line styles, line weights, view scales, and much more. Always check in with your BIM manager or technical team on which template to use. So let's start a new project. In the File tab, expand the new icon and click on Projects. In the New Projects dialog box, select the template you want to use and click OK to open. Now that we've opened a new project and we've started to do some work, and we're at this point, we want to save all of this hard work that we're doing. We want to save projects. I'm sure my team is super tired of me of always saying how important it is to save your projects frequently. To access the file, so to access this information and to access this, the File tab, click on Save, or it can be found in your Quick Access toolbar. If you have not saved in a set amount of time, don't worry, Revit has a built-in reminder that will also prompt you to save. If you want to customize the reminder intervals on how frequently you get reminded, you can do so as well. Go into the File tab, click on the options at the bottom of the tab. In the general options, you can then save reminder intervals to 15 or 30 minutes, which again, I would recommend 15 or 30 and not go too much more, especially when, first of all, working closely with others, but also if Revit decides to all of a sudden shut down, God knows we've all been there, at least you're only losing about 15 minutes of work rather than hours. Revit also creates backup copies. So by default, Revit saves backup copies of files when you save the project. Backup copies are numbered incrementally. So example, project 1.001.002, and so on. To revise the number of backup files that Revit saves, you can also access this by going to the Save As panel. Open the Save As dialog by choosing the save format. Click on the options in the Save As dialog under Maximum, specifically the number of backups you want to save to Revit. So now that you know how to open, create, and save our models, is now when we can get into where all the fun and creativity of Revit happens. So if you're hearing this message, you've listened to our new episode all the way to the end. And for that, I thank you. Like and subscribe now to get access to new Revit content weekly.